Alright guys, we're going to do something a little different today. Figured I would do a unboxing and sort of product review, a little bit of a showcase of the Artel Chaos Titan model, or Titan Chaos model. Right off the bat, I want to give a big thanks to Artel for sending me this product for review. And it's kind of wild, you know, when you think about it. I can't help but be excited. It's like, who would have thought? I mean, I never would have thought that I would have gotten a Primarch payoff for an army I collect from Artel before GW. But here we are. Here we are. So let's get right in here. I've already soaked and cleaned the models. They've already been washed, and I've just organized them into extra baggies. You guys can ignore the Warhammer baggie. I just had extra. They don't. Artel doesn't give you their product in Warhammer baggies, so you can ignore that. And I have all the parts here, sort of organized in a easy to navigate order. So here's the base this guy comes on. Just terrific, just terrific. As someone who's big into the Word Bearer's runes, I think this is an excellent base, and actually it kind of fits the rune, or the runic rune base scheme I have for my Word Bearers. Maybe I'll throw up a picture for reference in the editing process here. So let's start with the body, and then we'll work our way into the accessories. That, I think, makes the most sense, right? So as with Artel sculpts, the casting and detailing is tremendous. Like we can see, you know, fairly small, but high resolution runic markings all over the armor of this. This counts as Primarch. Well, that's what he'll be for me. You can build him as a, let's call it like a Dark Glory Lorgar transfigured sort of look, or you can build it as more of a full-on Demon Prince. That could probably count as Abaddon fairly well. He has a sword, a claw hand. Or you can go double claws, I think. We'll look at the weapon options in a bit, but my goodness. Look at this. Look at this detailing. Tremendous. Kind of got like a serrated sun sort of vibe on the front plate there, which isn't bad, which isn't a bad choice. Next we got a rather nice cape. Again, the details are looking rather crisp, rather crispy, and lots of Word Bearer's parchments. And I believe the backpack covers up this area here. Right, we have you know, the plates assemble like this. Yeah, look at that. Look at this. Got some nice scrolls, some sensor orbs, and I think the front plate. Yep, looking great. Oh man, I am feeling pretty excited. Pretty excited. Oh yeah, you guys can see I've been doing some blue stuffing. Off stream. But in any case, I guess this is his other leg. So you have a pose that's something like this. Yes, he's a pretty big boy, as you would expect for a Primarch, and then one who has embraced the ruinous powers. So we'll definitely, you know what I'll probably do? I'll probably end this video with a little bit of a size comparison. I'll spare you guys the assembly process because I want to magnetize them a little bit. But we'll just look at the parts, and then I'll do a size comparison with Gilliman and the Lion, just to get a better sense of the scale of this guy. Got a nice shoulder pad here, again with some very crisp detailing on those sigils. And there's the opposite shoulder pad with the Legion badge. There's a certain amount of, I think, deviation that's required when making this sort of a product. You don't want to be too on the nose. You don't want to infringe on anything in particular. So there's a certain amount of forgiveness I have for things like the Legion badge. It's not exactly the Word Bearers one for one, right? But I think that's I think that's just the nature of things, and I'm willing to, you know, cast that aside. I think it's fair to give a bit of forgiveness in the critique department for those sorts of choices. You can't help what you can't help, right? Then we have our backpack components here. Give me a second to open up these. Yeah, so the backpack is looking quite nice here. Not overly designed, relatively simple. It has a bit of that Mark III sort of aesthetic going on. You can see it would attach sort of like this. And look at the what are these called? I don't want to call them the exhausts, but the well, maybe it is a kind of exhaust. But anyways, these pieces, the nacelles, maybe? Is that what we can call them? They slot in like that, nicely seaming against the tubes, integrating into the center of the backpack here, which I think comes together rather nicely. And you got some nice layering of details on the sculpt, so, you know, creates quite the detailed look here. And the backpack has a standard option with just a simple plinth with a little book in there, or it has this rune of chaos, I guess we can call it. Right, with sort of four points for the 4 chaos gods. I guess we can kind of spin it that way, rather than the classic 8-pointed chaos star. So you can have this larger rune option that has the 4 kind of avatars of the chaos gods shrouding around it, which is definitely the route I want to go, because I think that is a super cool look for someone who has the blessings of the chaos gods in a more, well, let's be real, in a less tainted way than the other chaos primarchs, right? You can see the outcome of what, you know, Angron, Mortarion, Fulgrim, and Magnus what they've become. In Lorgar's case, I kind of like the angle that it's not so corrupted. I mean, I think I will go with the demonic head because that's what we've seen in artwork. But barring that, I'll probably keep them pretty ordinary. Want to have more of that sort of pious vibe. All right. So in any case, here we have the Tzeentchian avatar and the Slaaneshi avatar, and you can see it kind of sockets in like this. Yeah, right into the boobs, and on this side it's right into the pec, and then they kind of mount in and, you know, hover over our Countess Primarch here, giving him the gaze of the Chaos Gods, their favor, right? He is anointed. He has ascended in the most wholesome way you possibly could for a Chaos Primarch, I would think. And here's the head here, looking pretty detailed. Definitely in line with what we've seen from Artel's Slaanesh Demon sculpts. Try to get this to focus though. It's a little tricky. With all of these with these smaller bits. And we have the Tzeentch head here. Yeah, look at that. Awesome head. Just awesome. Okay, so we'll move those aside. Move on to the next stuff. Let's look at the weapons. The weapons are looking pretty good. Look at this. We have a book. Gotta go with the book, right? I mean, if you're gonna have a Countess as Lorgar on the tabletop, of course one of his weapons is gonna be a book. And again, just the detail looks fantastic. Definitely one of the better looking books I've seen on a model. Look at this. The question is, how does he turn the pages of this book? I guess with magic. Just magically turns the pages. And then we have the world break. No. Lorgar's mace is Illuminarius? Illuminarium? In any case, yeah, this is... maybe I'll try and find a comparison picture with the 30K model, but this is an adequate representation of Illuminarium. The mace forged by Ferrus Manus for Lorgar. How cool is that? There is a sword option, which I'll look at the end. I'll show the options that I'm not really planning to use at the end of the video, but you have the option to give him a demonic sword if you want to make him a bit more of your own custom character, I suppose. Or maybe it's a different take on an ascended Lorgar. Yeah, look at this this Nurgly avatar. Look at this little sort of definitely has that plague bearer aesthetic, which I appreciate. And what's kind of neat about this is the way it's been molded. They kind of, I don't want to say it's push fit, but it kind of just locks in here. Like it's pretty cool. Right, and then I think this one, no, not that arm, this one. This one is similar, so you have these kind of spirits surrounding, or these, surrounding the base of our Lorgar here, which I think it just definitely makes for a unique basing detail, and I think that's what you want. You don't want every Primarch to have a base that just reads generic battlefield with ruined Imperial Eagle, just shattered about, or torches and braziers. It just begins to feel a bit too generic, and I think you want your bases to tell a story, right? And this one certainly does, as does Artel's Night Hunter looking model. Right, I think this is the Corn, yeah, this is the Corn one, which kind of sits on this side of the base, on the opposite side. Hey, let's look at this Corn, this not bloodletter head. Yeah, definitely not quite bloodletter, kind of generic Corn demon here for you with a skull face. But the detail looks good. The details look good. Okay, and last we have the faces. The faces. There's 4 head options here, and they all look pretty nice, though. I'm not really vibing with the hooded look. We got our classic, maybe we'll call it a uncorrupted head here for a counts as Lorgar. It counts as bearer of the word Primarch. Yeah, the detail looks... Is that reading on camera for you guys? I hope so. It's a little harder to perceive on the OBS, but yeah, looking rather nice. We can even place it. We can even place it in the body here, which might help with the autofocus, actually. Yeah, look at this guy. Look at the heft of Lorgar. He's had quite the glow up here. Quite the strong boy with the chaos juice. This is what happens when you do a lot of praying, everybody. You do enough praying, you get a huge body. So that's the normal head. We have a sort of transfigured head, like an ascended head here, which is quite evocative of some of the artistic representations we've seen of Lorgar, I think. Seems like there might be a bit of warping on one of the horns, but that's... I won't fault the kit too much on that department because, well, that kind of happens with resin and spindlier bits. So with a bit of a heat gun, or you can do the hot water, ice water thing, and kind of, I'll try and bend that back so it's a bit more symmetrical. But the detail, it looks great. It looks fantastic. Probably want to go with this head because I feel like it's most accurate. Most accurate, yes. However, there is a cool guy here. If you want to have a helmet and be a real cool guy, look at this. Oh man, nice looking helm. Nice looking helm. Kind of has that that Mark 3 kind of aesthetic a little bit with the plow kind of face shield. It's rather sharp, you know. We'll say it's evocative of a Mark 3, kind of like the backpack. The rest of the armor doesn't feel like any particular mark, right? Feels a bit artificed, maybe, a bit unique. Yeah, you can see the thigh plate here with more runes. Yeah, look at this. Awesome. Just tremendous. Definitely gonna magnetize the head option in case I feel like I want to be a cool guy sometimes, you know. And the hooded helmet, which I did not clip for a fitting. Well, let's do that real quick. Yes, we have the hooded head, which isn't really a vibe I prefer, but you know, if you like the more monastic sort of aesthetic for your Wordbearer's Primarch, you have that option. Yeah, and then actually the patterning is the same on the hood as the cape, so that's a nice little consistent detail there. Yeah, he's gonna look quite majestic with this cape, I think. Okay, so we'll move those aside and look at the demonic bits. The demonic bits next. Right, so we got, well, these are actually the demonic bits and the parts I'm not using. So we have wings, nice looking wings. Definitely could use that in a conversion if I don't use them for this model. We have a Frostmourne-ish demonic sword looking thing. A generic fantasy sword with a demonic face. Look at that. Quite gnarly, quite gnarly. But you could see how this weapon could easily count as a Draconian, you know, if you wanted to count this model as an Abaddon for your word bearers. You have that option. Oh, here's the other backpack plinth, or, you know, well, I don't know what to call that. Is it a plinth? It sockets onto the backpack like this, right in that slot. So you can just make his backpack a bit more plain, if you would prefer. Which might be the option if you're going with the wings, because the wings have a lot going on. You might not want the wings and the Chaos Halo at the same time. It might be, you know, there might not be space for it actually. And if there is space, it might just be a bit much, a bit too loud in the design department. It's like, how many accessories do you want your guy to have, right? Here, I realized that I didn't really show the wings all that well, but the wings, this is the reverse side of the wings. So you got some parchment pinned on there, which looks pretty word-bearer-y. And yeah, that's the front side and the back side of the wings. Okay, so you have your two wings. You have two claw hands. You have I guess a warp bolter. If you want this guy to just be a demon prince, you have that option. And you have alternate shoulder pads as well. These ones are a bit more demonic, I guess you could say. They definitely feel like they're the intended shoulder pads for the winged variant here, right? You got an extra skin flayed around, extra skulls emerging across the armor. You also have it's a subtle design detail, but the trim of the armor appears sharper and more jagged in the full-on demonic with wings variant here, which I can appreciate those subtle design changes, right? Definitely neat. I mean, I guess if you really wanted, you could go ham with the magnetization and power up, right? You could have a power up character who ascends in real time. See, that would be a fun use of design space for rules on the tabletop. Then we have the tail, the big old demonic tail that the fully transfigured version could have, which is not what I would prefer. It looks, the detailing here looks great. It's just not the route I prefer. I am really into the more pious, on foot wordbearers Primarch holding a book, surrounded by avatars of the four chaos gods that are clamoring for his for his attention. But the parts look really nice, really nice. I can do a soft kind of dry fit here. Yeah, so he kind of sits like this onto his base, and he floats around on his tail, kind of in mid jump or perhaps hover. He has these gnarly demonic feet options you have, so you can make him look kind of nasty. Real disturbing, actually. You know, as his demonic form starts breaking through the armor. Something about the fingers on his feet really gross me out, but it's a good look. Definitely a good look. Look at it, it's kind of like a dynamic entry pose he's got going on. Not terrible, not terrible. I don't think it's a bad pose, but it's not what I want from my Wordbearer's Primarch. But look, you have the option. You have the option. And that option allows you to use this model to make a very unique, you know, Demon Prince Lord for your own warband, if you really wanted to. Right? Paint him up however you want. Make him match your army, and you have a awesome demonic lord. Anything else to showcase here, parts-wise? Parts-wise? I think this is just a gauntlet cover for that other claw hand. It looks pretty good if you're into the warp claws. The Demon Prince with claws. Okay, so what I'm thinking, guys, is I'll probably spare you the build, and I'll come back after I've built this guy, and I'll do a bit of a size comparison. I think that makes the most sense. And we are back. Look at him in all of his dark glory. Quite the imposing figure for a Wordbearer's Primarch, I think. All the details really are working well together. I quite like this composition. The four Chaos God avatars here really add that unique quality to them. Really tell the story as the first heretic he is. I kept the Iron Halo and body separate from the base for painting purposes, but I think it's sufficient enough to spin around and get a sense of the model itself now that it's all put together. You know, so from a tabletop view, from a player point of view, when you put this guy on the table, this is sort of the view you'll see. Well, I guess you can add the Iron Halo up top. But I think he looks pretty awesome. Pretty awesome from the tabletop POV. The only issue I found was really, and it might be assembly user error, but there's a bit of a gap here. See, the front of the foot is landing pretty well where it should, and the back has this square peg. Could be a modeling issue, could be a user error. Either way, it's not a huge problem. Just put a little bit of earth texture once you're doing your basing work, and no one will be the wiser. But that's basically as far as my criticisms of the build would go. Mold lines aren't really an issue. There were a few, but nothing even close to the realm of the old Finecast, or the old Forge World for that matter. I magnetized the weapon mounts. I mean, I figured I'd always be using this kind of loadout, the book and the mace. They feel very apt for Lorgar, but you know, if I want the options, I have it future-proofed. Yeah, I think it's well, this will be a real treat to paint, that's for sure. Yeah, she's gonna have to have a narrative showdown at some point with an Ultramarines player, that's for sure. As for, well, there's one more thing we can show here. I did a bit of magnetizing on the headpiece, so if, you know, You want to be a cooler guy, you can put on the helmet, and now he's a much cooler, much more hashtag cool, I think. And then you have the classic untainted head option as well. All three look great. I didn't magnetize the hood because I'm not particularly fond of hoods. But I guess we can do a bit of a size comparison. Hopefully that stays in place. Right, so here you can see the Chaos Titan model, how he looks beside Gilliman and the Lion here, his brothers who have not ascended in the way he has. The scale is probably sufficient. He's a bit bigger, that's for sure. He's a bit thicker, more robust, more rotund, some may say. But I think you can wear it because he is Lorgar transfigured here. He is become embiggened by his embracing of the Chaos powers, right? So he's a bit larger. I'll take away the mount there, the Iron Halo mount, and you can see a little side by side. Try and bring that closer to you guys. He's a bit bigger, a bit thicker for sure. For sure, but not awkwardly so, right? I mean, he's certainly going to be a lot smaller than the God-marked legions, like World Eaters and Angron and Magnus, of course. Very large monster models, bordering on Titanic. But yeah, you can see even compared to the Lion here, he is larger. Though even still, I don't think he'd be that much. I don't think he'd be as good of a fighter despite his size. This is the Lion after all. Yeah, but that's the comparison there for you of the model. I think it is pretty cool. Big thanks again to Artel for sending me this model for review. And it'll be a real treat to paint. I'll probably do a painting stream or two featuring this guy. Beyond that, I do have an Artel W affiliate link, which will be in the description of this video. You can use my link to support the channel in a small way. And I think with that, this review, this product showcase is concluded. Well, that's a wrap on this one. Again, big thanks to Artel for sending me their Suvarnael model. Links to Artel's web store are in the description and the card. If you enjoyed this video, there are buttons for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous patrons and channel members. Channel members and patrons get early access to regular channel videos, as well as free access to these shrine markers and other STL doodads. Just a little something for those who help keep the dream alive. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.